stream is live.
What's up?
What's up, guys? 2026 पहला स्ट्रीम. अभी स्प्रिंट प्लानिंग होगा. अभी डालते हैं जीरा
Yes.
टिकट.
Jira. Can you log into your Jira kya to start with?
Yes.
सबसे पहले Jira. By the way, what is your favorite tool for project management?
Pen and paper.
Is it? But have like generally you do that way क्या? कि तू कोई ऐसे
I for syncing with the team, I put things wherever. मतलब I have used Linear. I have used GitHub का जो default project management आता है,
हम्म,
and of course Microsoft Excel.
okay.
मतलब Google Sheets. But anything works. I mostly know what I am about to do and keep things on pen and paper. Simple.
Got it. यार I like linear. मुझे ना थोड़ा सा I think एक तो there are shit ton of tools now, right? मतलब you can just मतलब honestly run this on Excel sheets if you want to, and
Yeah.
you really don't need so many tools. But
Yeah.
I think now we have got like I don't know, there is this plethora of tools out there which are just making hard to work. You know, I मुझे last week किसी ने बोला कि one of the reason that most of the big tech people are not happy in general with their work, right, is because
Hmm.
they are doing more of this tools management versus the actual work. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's quite relatable.
Because I think a lot of these tools now integrate with like whatever, like Cloud Code or whatever. I think
Yeah,
it's becoming less of an headache कि कोई भी कुछ करता है, and like Cloud Code could genuinely become a email replacement.
yeah,
उसने
yeah.
ये मेरे को दिखा दिया.
But what do you think, yeah, like now with Cloud Code taking over your and my Twitter timeline,
Hmm.
mm, are we really 6 to 12 months away from actually automating software engineering?
I think more. I still think it's a bit more.
ट्रू ट्रू मतलब जिस तरह से वो बोला ना उसने डैरियो राइट डैरियो सेड दैट
हाँ.
एंड it just feels like too optimistic honestly.
Oh.
And when you say automate software engineering, what does it even mean in the first place? Are they gonna like replace entire entropic का जो पूरी सब कुछ काम है वो, या small part of it, what part of it, how much of it?
Okay, I would like to go back to the example of building, right?
Hmm.
So you don't need to know how to lay bricks in order to be an architect or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Which are developers. Now coming to software developers, I
Hmm.
think this is similar, right? Ki problem solving skills, general problem solving skills is more than a year away, I am sure. uh,
Hmm.
Plus even today, like if it actually replaced my work, I would be so happy. Last 7-10 days I'm like, as you know, right, I'm not even that responsive because I'm actually required to type code like a caveman for what I'm
Hmm.
doing right.
Hmm.
If it's a simple Next.js app, it's already automated. I would expect it to take over more programming languages such as Rust, C++. I did a crazy amount of work in C++. I think if you are subscribed to my Substack, you are getting those pings,
Yeah.
right? And most of it was done by like this AI models.
Hmm.
But when it's genuinely you are trying to do something new and novel and not a standard practice at all, right?
Hmm.
uh, like it's very difficult for these models to come up with novel solutions.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
for example, you have a requirement, you can say this to me, I will make some assumptions based on like what industry you are in, what how you are trying to project it, and the amount of time you and I have to spend to align. I believe that is significantly more in when you are trying to align with the AI. It
Hmm.
loses the context in every chat, and more importantly, even when it has your context, like it, you ask it, ये आपको सही बोल रहा है, like how I do it is कि okay, did you get what I said, like give me, like prove to me कि you understood, and the model can say कि it proves, can prove कि it has understood, but still the
Mm-hmm.
engineering solutions it recommends is not sometimes there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
interestingly, Kal, I was watching one of the interviews of Demis
हम्म
from DeepMind, right? और उसने एक बहुत अच्छी
वर्ल्ड
बात
इकोनॉमिक
बोली।
फोरम वाला,
क्या बोला?
वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम वाला।
नहीं 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 नहीं, कोई दूसरा बंदा था। इट वाज
ओके।
इन Davos only,
हाँ
but
हाँ।
in a different sort of a setup. उससे
हम्म
बहुत अच्छी चीज बोली। द रीजन, लेट्स से, अभी भी when we think of, let's say, long horizon task in any of this agents, right? It's maybe few months, not even few months, I'm sorry, few hours or few days, right?
हम्म
But if you imagine a human brain, when you think of a long horizon task, it can go
हम्म
all the way up to years and years, right?
हम्म
मतलब मैं बैचलर्स कर रहा हूँ, डिग्री है
हम्म
4 साल की, मैं 4 साल का एक वो डिसीजन ले रहा हूँ, एंड इन दी एंड आई एम थिंकिंग कि मेरे को शायद कि इसके वजह से जॉब मिलेगी या वट एवर, राइट? सो
हम्म
दैट्स द लॉन्ग हराइजन ब्रेन इज एबल टू थिंक राइट नाउ एंड एग्जीक्यूट.
हम्म
Now the question is, ki, will agents think in that long term, right? And his point was that we are far away from that reality where agents are able to think. That's the long horizon, right? Abhi the definition of long horizon is maybe few days or few weeks, whatever.
हम्म
I think there was one news कि Claude code has been running for like some 10-12 days or something like that. या कुछ ज़्यादा ही
हम्म
थे उससे, right?
हम्म
But days is fine. Can we do months? Can we do years? And can we do decades? I think that's the long horizon that we are, I think, pretty much far off from, I suppose.
that long horizon I don't think we're anywhere close, but even in the horizon where I see ki the scope is defined,
Hmm.
and objective output is well defined. It's the even the state of the art models I have burned more than like 10-15 million tokens in one task.
Hmm.
Not a lot, but 10-15 million tokens I think is like how much, $100-$150.
Yep.
uh and after spending that, I'm sure if gave that money to a junior developer, they would have been solved, they would solve it in that money, in
Yeah.
that time.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we are not anywhere close to like this whole, idea of uh, automation in a way that it's gonna completely make us irrelevant to a level कि यार अब तो
Yeah,
जरूरत है.
एक तो tokens are subsidized, like so whatever token prices we get, they are subsidized at least 2 to 4, by a factor of 2 to 4, right? So and on top of that, it still costs more than the price I would have to pay to hire a person and develop institutional knowledge. Like if I hire someone, if you hire someone,
Hmm.
that person also develops a institutional domain knowledge, sort of, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
agent,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? So if even if the price matched, the agent has okay 24/7. The agent can run 24/7. The human can't, but the human can also build the institutional knowledge which the agent lacks today,
Hmm.
right? So yeah,
But
and
I think there is
yeah.
this whole debate of like, so Demis ने एक और point बोला that
Hmm.
he doesn't agree with who's the guy behind अपना VL Jepa.
Jan Lekun.
हाँ,
I
he
think
doesn't agree.
I also seen the same podcast or interview.
हाँ,
Yeah.
maybe. So what's, since I think you have written like article on VL Jepa and you have explained, sort of explored to a certain level. What are your thoughts on that?
If I go and recollect what was presented
Or we
in
can
the
just maybe
paper.
share the paper for reference also. If you want to
Yeah,
just share.
I'll share it. Okay, so let me open it first. Uh, and I'll also open my Twitter article.
Yeah.
What I actually had written, because it was quite some time back. So I might have
Yeah,
forgotten.
that's. But I think now there is this whole new wave of people going and saying कि we need to create world models beyond LLMs, and we need maybe 2 or 3 major breakthroughs before even the whole AGI comes in the picture. matlab. So
AGI, I think AGI is a semantic argument, na, so I think ASI will be easier to define. Right? AGI, you could argue कि AGI has been achieved.
hmm. And I don't know, matlab, have we? I don't know. I'm not aware, but do you know how we are defining AGI? Is there a framework to that?
So I think OpenAI has published a rubric on how it defines how much agency something has,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
not a definition of AGI per se.
Okay. Got it. So
OpenAI.
again, my guess is कि एक at some point हम
Mm-hmm.
लोग सब अपना डेफिनेशन लेके आएंगे कि यार आई थिंक एजे अचीव हो गया है
Mm-hmm.
एंड ओपन एआई माइट से समथिंग एल्स एंट्रोपिक कैन के से समथिंग एल्स एंड
Mm.
ये क्या नाम है इसका गूगल कैन से समथिंग completely different मतलब so
Yeah,
that is also coming gonna be very interesting to see मतलब कि how it works out.
yeah. So if you look at this definition, right? I
Mhm.
think कहीं पे तो है. I think this Forbes article might structure it better. कहाँ है? So level one is conversational, which we have
Yeah.
achieved.
Mhm.
Level two is reasoning, which I would argue कि we have achieved to an extent.
Mhm.
Level three is autonomous, which is I think we're not quite there. Uh, it now it today's models do exhibit autonomy, but it's not that sort of autonomy.
True, true.
ठीक है, it's flailing sort, like you have to put a lot of guardrails to ensure it doesn't like you can't really trust it to the level you can trust a human. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
for sure.
we put oversight, but it's not because a lack of trust, but it's more of a process thing, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
level 4 is innovating, uh, and level 5 is organizational. Right? So this is the levels of automation that OpenAI has defined. That is
हाँ.
one thing. The second ASI का जो definition है, I think that's more clear to follow, which is like replay like a system, a mechanistic system that is uh, like able to do all sort of economically relevant tasks.
हम्म. यार ये तुमको पता है ये funnily enough I believe that like in certain tasks let's say कि अभी भी जैसे है right मतलब the whole reasoning or maybe the autonomous वाला part है उसमें भी
Hmm.
there are certain very smaller use cases I would say जैसे कि
Hmm.
आई थिंक अगर हम सेम इंटरव्यू की बात कर रहे हैं तो
Hmm.
उसमें आई थिंक डेमिस आल्सो मेंशन दैट ही फील्स वी हैव अचीव्ड एजीआई विद डिफ्यूजन मॉडल्स
Hmm.
राइट
Hmm.
specifically the image creation when it comes to nano banana
Hmm.
and it actually feels like a bit of a moment of AGI because there is a real like improvement that has happened in last few years when it
Yep.
comes to image generation right and जो हम वीडियोस भी आजकल ठीक है देख रहे हैं वीडियोस आर आल्सो लाइक गेटिंग क्रेजी गुड मतलब
Hmm.
राइट सो या
Really.
या
Yeah. So if I look at the summary I have created, uh, it's that instead of next token prediction, VLJPA tries to predict the latent state of the model, right? So imagine this is a token space which is discrete. It's either dog or puppy or animal. Uh, but in reality it will have a logit, right? It will have key the next token could be 90% dog, 20% puppy, 10% or something, right? that whole latent space, right? It when you try to when you sample one token out of it, you have basically collapsed that latent into one token, right?
Sure. Yeah, but I don't know if it's a relevant question or not, but
Mhm.
how is the VLJEPA different from diffusion model?
So diffusion is different. Diffusion, as far as I understand, is that you take a random noise, right?
Hmm.
And when you put it with a some sort of conditioning, right? When you when I what I mean is conditioning. Your
Hmm.
prompt works as a conditioning.
Right.
Let's say you have a complete random noise, okay?
Hmm.
And what you have is your prompt. It creates something called a conditioning vector.
Hmm.
So it will try to filter out from the noise, okay, this part looks like a dog, this part looks like a tree. And the conditioning says ki draw an image of uh, draw an image of a dog sitting under a tree. Okay.
Sure. Hmm.
So this part looks like a dog, this part looks like a tree, and the dog and tree are spatially oriented. Whether when the tree is extending above the dog, so it will try to find out कि उस
Hmm.
नॉइस में से हम क्या रिमूव या ऐड कर सकते हैं टू मेक इट क्लोजर टू दिस कंडीशन.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
so it becomes slightly less noisy, and we repeat this process over and over, right?
Hmm.
So if you look at a SDXL ka output, you will see कि it looks like complete blur, and slowly it becomes clear. ठीक है. So diffusion even in language modeling works very similarly. You will have a complete garbage tokens, and look, given your prompt, it will try to figure out, okay, which of these tokens can I modify so that it satisfied this condition, right?
Hmm.
It extends to this, like you can define however you want, but the principle of diffusion works, to my knowledge, like you have complete noise, and you try to remove that noise to uncover the artifact underneath that satisfies your condition. Okay.
Hmm.
And it never
Yeah.
stops, by the way. It continues, like we
It's
say कि
on a loop, I think. वो loop में चलता है, right? तो
so we kind of define कि okay 40 steps के बाद आपको रुकना है और noise remove नहीं
Hmm.
करना, right?
Hmm.
And there is also there is something called CFG, control for guidance, I believe. So
Okay.
CFG determines how, like, how much of the conditioning to apply, right? So
Hmm.
if you have high CFG, it will adhere to your prompt better, but it will lose aesthetic quality,
Hmm.
right? It will be a strict adherence, but it will lose all aesthetic quality, or like it will try to match it exactly. So it will try to force the noise into a way where there is nothing,
Hmm.
right? So how they train it is you take a sharp image and you
Right.
add noise, right? You add
Yeah.
noise slowly. Okay. And they try to, from the noise, they try to predict the image.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Got it.
it's like squinting your eyes so that the world becomes blurry. Sorry,
Mhm.
blur your eyes so the world becomes blurry, and tries to, based on what conditioning there was, it tries to remove that. It tries to unblur the image. Sort of.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah. So I don't know if VLJPA का कोई model weights अभी तक launch हुआ है कि नहीं. Because I would love to play with it. No.
I don't
VJPA.
know. उसके बाद I think after paper, there has not been like a much of a update of exactly what happened, right?
Yeah. Also, some of the data sets they have mentioned, I think I put it in the caveats, right? Ki certain data sets or things, it does not, it's not even public.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
ठीक है. So if I search for data sets.
Yeah. Hmm.
So some of this, for example, how to end 100M, I think this one is public.
Hmm.
So this one is public, but there were other data sets they have a reference that is not public, so I could not recreate it.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is basically the paper of uh, VLJPA.
How
And
many
that
authors were there? 12,
uh,
13 question authors. Huh.
yes.
Okay.
So Chinese names as usual.
Yeah, yeah, as expected.
What is so one university? Uh, sorry, I messed up the name pretty bad.
ओ बाय द वे पता है मुझे किसी ने रिसेंटली ये भी बताया कि
Hmm.
मतलब
Right.
आई डोंट नो यू माइट ऑलरेडी बी अवेयर ऑफ इट और आई एम नॉट श्योर
Hmm.
बट जो फर्स्ट 3 या 4 नए नाम होते हैं ना आई
Hmm.
थिंक दे आर द फेलोज और दे आर द टीम लीड उसके
They are
बाद
the
कुछ
they are the lead investigators. They are
हाँ
the
दे
like.
आर लीड इन्वेस्टिगेटर उसके बाद फेलोज होते हैं एंड उसके
Hmm.
बाद द मेन गाइज आर इन द लास्ट मतलब ऐसा कुछ
No, so the last one is usually the supervisor, like the person who's leading the lab or something.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
Last
okay
पे
in this
and
case maybe it can be Jan or it can be
uh,
Pascal.
Pascal. So these people are probably supervising the whole thing, giving key okay, giving more strategic direction. The first one are leading, बीच में सब लोग tactically देख रहे हैं किसी ने थोड़ा
Yeah,
data set किया and all that.
yeah, it was pretty cool for me to learn that. I didn't know that. Yeah. But ठीक है, I think this is good. That I think hopefully we can see some more update exactly on what's happening with VL Jepa now because
Yeah,
paper तो drop हो गया है but उसके बाद कुछ
I think
मतलब
he also raised funds, no, Yan Lekun काफी अच्छा फंड नहीं उठाया.
he has raised some fund में कुछ तो I think बड़ा round ही किया उसने भी. Hey, do
Hmm.
you know what Ilya is up to right now? Is there any news on that?
I don't think so, but I would not be surprised if he is running a quant fund. Like I read somewhere कि Ilya's idea is to build AGI, use it to make money, so they become self-sustainable, then make things open source.
Hmm. हो सकता है. There's no. I think honestly right now like it's just so much of noise in general like with AI.
So, so just help me out. If I switch to Firefox, you still see only my Chrome, right?
I think से अभी तो जो है वही दिख रहा है फिलहाल तो.
अभी अभी भी सेम ही दिख रहा है, right? My
हाँ
Twitter
हाँ
is
हाँ
not.
वही तेरा पेपर ही दिख रहा है अभी तो.
ठीक है. Okay.
Yeah.
I will quickly do a Twitter data search. Ilya पे.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
Thanks for that. तू बोलने
क्या
के
बोल
बाद I got Premium Plus.
नहीं वापस बोल क्या बोला तूने.
So after you recommended, I got the Premium Plus, and I'm having a good fun time running radar search.
Oh, which one premium you got?
Premium Plus, highest
Oh yeah,
tier.
yeah, Twitter. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
यार मेरा तो पता है उन्होंने कैंसिल कर दिया स्कीम जो देयर वाज सम प्लान गोइंग ऑन
mm,
and somehow I think my card got declined for once and they canceled the plan altogether. I'm like ये
and,
क्या है यार. So I have to figure out the whole thing again.
mm,
Yeah. And he.
but I saw some speculations around. I saw
Around.
some speculations around Ian Lekon.
Is it?
Sorry, Ian Lekon. नहीं, Sorry, Ilya
अच्छा
making
एलिया ओके या
quant.
यार थोड़ा सा आई थिंक है मतलब चीजें आई मीन ऑफ कोर्स ही विल आल्सो फिगर आउट नो इफ ही एक्चुअली कैन सेल्फ सस्टेन द होल थिंग
Uh,
that's a great place to be in because I don't know if you read that news कि OpenAI जिस तरह से burn कर रहा है
mm,
they will have to raise a round very soon right
mm,
so yeah
yeah,
there is this
yeah.
constant funding requirement in general.
And lately, I personally haven't opened ChatGPT a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are you like? What's your primary thing in this case?
Gemini, Claude, Grok, Gemini.
Oh, Grok. You're liking Grok, yeah?
So Grok may, if you, because Grok has very little filters. So if you
Hmm.
want to do a research task, you switch Grok to Grok paid wala, or the
Huh?
super Grok you go with, get with premium. Set it to expert mode and run a research query and leave the tab. Like come after 10 minutes, you will get a good research output.
Pretty cool.
For coding related to Claude पे ही हूँ मैं.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Uh, एक second है खाली. Yeah, actually, ठीक है. I think should we actually show the world Neura Peak? I don't think people have seen that.
Neuropic.
Sorry, Neuro Peak. यार न्यूरो चलो ठीक है. मेरे को यार हमेशा न्यूरा ही याद आता है, but ठीक है.
पूरा लिंक था वो.
Yeah, yeah. Great. So I think this is the first glance publicly, I suppose people are seeing.
Yes.
Yes. So guys, our small brain thing is not
Becoming.
anymore a small brain thing. We
Yeah.
have got some very cool stuff going on with that. And I think Sohan has done something very cool. So maybe Sohan, can you show the whole mapping that you have done on neuroscience ka
Yeah.
work function?
Sure. So this is a map of the whole domain of neuroscience, where I try to map out, like for example, in ML you have computer vision, you have RL, you have CNNs, LSTMs, and all different sides of subdomains of machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
Mm, and similarly, I tried to figure out what is a good way to map out the domain of computational neuroscience, not clinical neuroscience, but
yeah.
computational purely. And most of it was done by AI. So if
Hmm.
you find anyone finds any inaccuracies, please let me know. But
Yeah.
I did not find any obvious inaccuracies. I tried.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Maybe we
So
can do this, यार कि we can just go to one by one, understand very basic level पे कि
mhm,
what it can solve or what it can do.
mhm.
Then maybe we can lock in certain use cases which we can just keep talking in the upcoming streams.
Sure.
Yeah.
So primarily, these are the two foundational domains. One is theoretical computational neuroscience and mathematical neuroscience.
Hmm.
And if we open this in the sidebar, we see
Hmm.
that what are the key frameworks, debates, and what are some of sort of the foundational papers that laid out this segment of neuroscience, and some of the
Hmm.
recent papers around that domain, and
Hmm.
which labs are primarily working on it, right?
Very
So
nice.
I want to extend it to labs and people as well, as neuroscience is a pretty niche
Yeah.
scientific community and pretty well knit, tightly knit.
And especially, I think computational neuroscience is even more niche in a way
Yeah,
because there are a lot of people working, let's say, on a clinical neuroscience or like, theory based neuroscience. But I think computation is something a lot of people are exploring right now.
yeah.
And yeah.
So, so this is theoretical computational neuroscience
Yeah.
and mathematical neuroscience, which is like basically using different mathematical processes or techniques to
Yeah.
simulate the brain, sort of.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like if you have to like this is a inspiration from this series, sci-fi series called Pantheon. But in Pantheon, you have something called uploaded intelligence, where you scan the brain and upload it to a computer.
Hmm.
And mathematical would be something like, okay, what are the model weights of the brain,
Hmm.
right? So how can we extract it?
So I think this can be actually a good start for actually doing multiple streams, right?
Yeah.
Because before we get to real the applications and like more stuff around neuroscience, maybe we can spend one stream where we can just go through a bunch of the foundational papers,
Yeah.
make our notes, maybe or can come up with our notes already and discuss once.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
we can also see if we can actually bring somebody from that domain. We both can try to approach people and see if we can bring
Yeah.
someone along with us. So
Yeah.
that definitely will be a good start. Wow,
Absolutely.
this seems much more deeper, huh? The whole sensory wala part.
Yes. So this is like a lot of sensors have come out of this research. For example, olfaction, which is like uh, this is olfactory. I think is a sense of smell, right?
Can you search? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Smell, huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Smell. Right. So how does our brain process smell? There is a
Mm-hmm.
whole like chemistry lab inside our noses, right? So
Yeah.
uh, so somatosensation, olfaction, motor control, vestibular,
Hmm.
sense of motor, and then you have more
Okay.
the cognitive domains,
Yeah,
right?
I think
So
there is also like enough research or enough literature with cognitive neuroscience in general.
yeah,
So I
but
think this is
this is
also like a big domain to sort of explore.
uh-huh.
It's also a big domain to explore, right, in itself.
Yeah, so I think this is specifically cognitive computational neuroscience, which is
Hmm.
coming up with in silico models or like a computer based model that kind of simulates cognition. This
Hmm.
is what AI or AGI attempts to aims
Yeah.
to be.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Hey,
uh,
can you go up? I want to just look at one specific part. It's the computational neuroscience of consciousness.
consciousness, yes, this part.
Uh, this one, can you open it once?
Which I opened it.
Are there
Let
any specific papers or who are working on it, by the way?
So if we look at this latest papers, I think we
Uh,
can. I think the key debate in this field is GNWT versus IIT, which both of which I don't know.
mhm.
Have to.
यार जहाँ तक मैंने पढ़ा है ना, it's I think they both are like some sort of a framework to approach it,
Mhm. Yes.
and I think there are hardly 4 or 5 major frameworks that has come out in last few years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think this link is incorrect.
Yeah.
Integrated information theory
Huh.
and
GNW, consciousness, the global neural.
global neural workspace. So this is the correct paper. George Omashore. So yeah, this is a archive paper. So
Yeah, I
this
think this is also one of the I think thing that maybe we'll both have to like maybe pick out certain areas
uh-huh.
because this is actually too big, right, to cover everything. And
Yeah,
I
but
think we
I you and I along with a small volunteer network can actually go and map out the cognitive computational neuroscience ka domain pretty well. I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
would be
I
really
think
helpful.
that will be helpful because otherwise we'll be lost, right? मतलब in terms of
Yeah,
exactly
we
हम
need to
कौन सी
map the
depth में जा
territory.
सकते हैं.
We need to map the territory sort of.
And plus अगर हम कोई area पकड़ रहे हैं, we need to go a little deeper, I think, rather than just like jumping on the surface.
I
Uh,
would. I would actually explore the lateral surface before going deeper, because what I find
हाँ हाँ हाँ
interesting.
मतलब once we let's say talk about all the areas in certain way, we may also figure out कि okay हमारा interest कहाँ पे लग रहा है सबसे ज्यादा.
Exactly.
But I think as far as I know, we know there are two three primary suspects, right, where we probably will end up at.
I
So
think consciousness and cognitive is something that where you
yeah,
work is pretty popular there.
true, true.
Yeah.
And I think that's also one of the areas where, I mean, despite the lot of research and a lot of like literature, we
Mhm.
are nowhere even closer to like coming to a final conclusion, right? Matlab?
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree, and I also lately I've been drawn to this idea of like universal consciousness, like
Hmm.
consciousness being a intrinsic property of the universe, and whatever sensor or whatever it is, it just enhances the subjective experience. But
Mm-hmm.
all, like, you can think of cognition being a consciousness being a field that applies to every point in the universe, and everything is consciousness is conscious in some way.
Hmm.
This is a bit metaphysical, unprovable,
Yeah.
could be
And
provable.
I feel, one of the areas where I am super interested, maybe in the coming few years, is to
Mhm.
explore consciousness with the lens of quantum physics, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm assuming that is going to be a different world altogether. Because anyway, we fundamentally, at least I don't understand quantum physics completely. Abhi bhi, matlab, right?
I understand. So very recently, I had a sort of revelation after like relearning linear algebra for the umpteenth billion time, because it's something like matrix multiplication or whatever. I never had a complete well understood grasp. I could solve a linear equation, sorry, or a differential equation or a
Got it.
matrix equation,
Mhm.
or understand what is a vector product, scalar product,
Yeah.
all these operations. But
Hmm.
I could not understand the transformation of spaces. Like, that's something I could speak in the abstract, but I could not visualize it. But lately, I built my own lesson module that kind tries to explain new stuff, and I am
Mhm.
the first guinea pig there. एंड वहाँ से जब मैंने अपनी ही चीज़ों से मैंने जब लीनियर अलजेब्रा सीखना शुरू किया, आई
Mhm.
थिंक आई हैव ए बेटर मेंटल पिक्चर ऑफ व्हाट इज लीनियर अलजेब्रा. सो
Mhm.
सिमिलरली क्वांटम mechanics, quantum physics, when we say things like entanglement, superposition, all these are expressed in differential equations and all these things. So we really need to know a lot of good amount of math very intuitively to make sense of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what is
But
being said.
I think in this case also, like it's physics in general, or in like quantum world itself,
Hmm.
it's easier. Like I have seen that people tend to move to a lot of like metaphysical thinking
Hmm.
and the whole domain of let's say computational quantum physics, right? It's same like consciousness. Ki there are some like early stage development where we don't know exactly what it is, right?
Yes.
I don't know if how many people have taken a stab at let's say computational quantum theory.
I think quantum computation is pretty well understood at this point. It's just that the experimental like when you try to, you have to do bit experimentally, right? You have to repeat it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
For example, I think China recently had this. I'll stop the screen share.
hmm,
China very recently did a quantum like long distance network, right?
hmm. Are you
Where,
saying something? Huh.
yeah, I'm also eating something.
Haha, okay.
So when like where a long over a long period of distance,
Hmm.
information was transmitted
Hmm.
by pure quantum mechanics.
Right.
Okay, so imagine you entangle some quantum field
Hmm.
and you transported one part some kilometers apart,
Hmm.
uh, and you transmit information over that quantum tunnel,
Hmm.
right? So that I think China has experimentally demonstrated, so which means in the current world, at least to some people, they understand the computational side of quantum mechanics pretty
Hmm.
well to reproduce the results they have done, right? So let me Google it.
But do you also think the whole world of, let's say, quantum computing and
Quantum communication.
or let's say quantum physics for that matter, right?
Hmm.
Can be a different world altogether.
Yeah, it is a different world altogether.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I think quantum computing has taken, like, a good progress, and I think bunch of labs, right?
Hmm.
Microsoft, Google, IBM,
Hmm.
for that matter, they have made some decent progress on that side of the world. But when it comes to like a core, quantum physics, uh, from a computational standpoint, I don't know where we stand.
I if you are saying ki in terms of developing quantum algorithms, yes, we are perhaps not super deep into it, but
Hmm.
building quantum, like for example, when computers arrived, how do you create a database? That was not known, right? You only
Right.
had circuits, vacuum tubes, binary operations. That is theoretically a Turing machine and all of that, but it was not certain how do you make a game, right? The first game I think arrived quite some time later,
Right.
which I think was like first visual game. Like how do you draw a draw some pixels or control a CRT monitor from a computer? These are things that were not super well known. And
Hmm.
similarly, in terms of algorithm, in terms of developing quantum algorithms, uh, is something that's not very well known. Like we know Shor's algorithm very popularly, but not many beyond that.
Hmm. Yeah, but I feel like, in the end, either everything is going back to either maths or
Hmm.
philosophy, right, Matlab? And the more I think people get deeper and deeper into maths, I am much more like, on the higher level. Like, I would not consider myself anywhere close to deeper sense of maths, but
Me neither.
so to very large extent, I think maths is a bit of a philosophical in a certain sense.
Yeah, you can. I would agree to that notion.
Yeah.
Math can be very subjective. Math can be very philosophical. Like
Yeah.
math is also considered a language by many people.
Hmm.
Right. One book that I famously did not understand, but I reached out to the author, and author responded to me on Twitter also. Is Max Tegmark from I think MIT.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a long story. So he has a book called Our Mathematical Universe.
Hmm. Mathematical universe. Okay.
Our Mathematical Universe. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I read the book twice. I still don't claim to understand anything about it.
Okay.
Uh, but he says ki, like imagine, like now I think I will use it in a different parameter, right?
Hmm.
If our universe were a simulation, it
Hmm.
relies on 32 or 28 fundamental constants, right? They are
Okay.
tuned like when we do a model training, right? We
Hmm.
set some hyperparameters, like what is the learning rate, how
Hmm.
many epochs you train for. These are hyperparameter hyperparameters, and these are constants within that ML model, right? Similarly, you boot a computer, every program will need some input arguments, right?
Sure.
So his claim is not that. His claim is simply that our universe is so mathematically explainable that 32 fundamental constants explain everything that we so far understand.
Hmm.
And he said sort of, I don't know if do we want to call it conjecture, whether we call it as a thesis, but sort of he posits that our universe is fundamentally mathematical in nature, and this is a astrophysicist, particle physicist talking about, right?
Yeah. No, no, I
And that
think I
that's the
agree
book I would
because
like to present. Yeah.
yeah, because I think see again, maths is a bit of a language if you remove the whole, complexity of let's say equation. And I mean, from all the equation also there's some theory that it goes back to, right? Every equation can be linked back to some theory, and
Axioms. I think mathematics speaks the language of axioms, lemmas, and like other logical deductions, right? If we think these are the true statements, right?
hmm,
For example, one plus one equals to two is an axiomatic property
hmm,
of
hmm,
number, right? There is nothing that prevents you from defining a different axiomatic property. See, one
hmm,
plus one equals to one,
hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you define the rules, and you imagine it doesn't have to match a reality.
Hmm.
I think, do you follow stand up comedy in India wala scene?
A bit of here and there, yeah.
Very recently, Vishwa Kalyan Rath, he created a stand up bit where he said कि square root of minus one को हम बोलते हैं imaginary number.
Yeah,
ठीक है,
I remember that. Yeah,
but we very casually forget minus one itself is an imaginary number. कभी कभी पेड़ में माइनस वन एप्पल लटकते हुए हमने नहीं देखा,
yeah.
right? So it is axiomatic in nature.
But I think that's also one of the reasons that a lot of people generally tend to find maths very hard because it's a bit of abstract also, right? Matlab.
It is very deeply abstract. Yeah.
And I think that's what it also makes it little like hard to like really say yeah I know everything in maths because you
Mm.
can never ever ever know everything in maths.
I think I would claim that most people are naturally very good at maths.
Yeah.
Circums like it's the I would blame the educational environment to not prepare them for maths,
Mm-hmm.
because this was such a core belief. I actually used to teach maths in schools, colleges, schools mostly,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my first ever students, right, who I was teaching when I was in, I think, 10th grade or something, 10th grade, 9th grade, तभी से मैं बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा था. So he used to fail in maths, like in his class, right? And he failed in maths, and I kind of spoke with him कि तुमको क्या समझ में नहीं आता है, and we had a conversation, and over time he not only scored the highest marks in maths in 10th, but he continued to take maths as his only primary subject later, right?
Hmm.
He took arts, but उसके अंदर he took maths, ठीक है?
Okay. Hmm.
And from him failing in maths in 7th grade, in 10th it's just 3 years, not that long, right? So him just consistently getting very good marks is simply because maths is very fascinating. Once you have the fascination wala keeda, it
Yeah.
just doesn't go away.
I mean, once you sort of start liking it, then there's no going back, like as such, because it's literally hard to in the beginning for anyone, but once you get it, matlab, right?
It's I don't think it's hard, it's challenging, yes. Like, difficulty and challenge are like very hand in hand.
Hmm.
But I personally find it very challenging, in the same way I find chess challenging, and I find the game of Valorant challenging, right? And that what makes it appealing. Like, you have to earn the approval of the equation, sort of. right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and it is very abstract. It's not, it can be abstract, right? And when we learn maths initially, we only teach the useful parts, which is there is applied maths and there is pure maths. But we only learn and teach the applied maths. But there exists a whole universe of math, like if you have MCU, mathematical cinematic universe, then
Yeah.
that's like whole universe on its own.
Yeah.
uh, Things that used to be in the domain of pure maths or non-applied mathematics have moved into like have found its applications later, right? For example, if you take prime numbers, right? Prime numbers used to be purely like had no use case until computers came in.
Hmm. Yeah, actually, you are very, I think, on point in terms of the reason, like, most of us are not, let's say, great at, intuitional math, is because we are mostly started with the applied maths in general in life, right?
No, even in applied maths, I think we are very rarely invited or challenged in a healthy way. But I think it goes back to school or our upbringing. I
Hmm.
cannot speak for other cultures, but at least in our culture, maths is seen by parents as something ki you have to get good at it, and
Hmm.
it is hard. Like for example, if एक बच्चे को बोलोगे तीखा is very spicy food is like is you're going to cry, and the child kind of learns, oh, spicy food is very difficult to digest. Similarly,
Sure.
if you just prime someone ki oh, maths is hard but तुमको करना पड़ेगा,
Yeah.
but if you like for example, my sister was a BSc in mathematics, and she
Hmm.
used to teach me कि, oh, math is very fun, right?
Hmm.
So she used to challenge me कि मैं how can you solve it, like puzzle पकड़ा के चले गए, ठीक है?
Yeah.
And that's what drawn me in to the to maths. Lately I have not touched maths in quite some time, but I've stayed close to computers, and computers compute, so maths से उतना भी दूर नहीं गया हूँ,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
yeah, that's sort of how I view the world of maths. Applied maths mostly, because pure maths you don't typically know or learn about a lot, but pure maths has its application, finds its application up over time.
Yeah. But I think so. Yeah, I think maybe for next stream, no, we have, I think, two topics we can start with. One
Yeah,
is theory wala computational neuroscience,
yeah,
and maybe in the same we can maybe spend some time on mathematical neuroscience,
yeah.
understand
Mathematics science would
how is
be
maths involved in neuroscience. I'm not very sure about it. When I first time ये topic सुना है, तो it's very fun to explore actually,
yeah.
and maybe we can prepare some material before stream, and then we can just be like, okay, this is what we can talk about, and maybe if people have any recommendation, they can also send to you or me either way. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think,
Which which domain in neuroscience do you find the most attractive?
yeah, honestly, I love the whole world of cognitive neuroscience,
Hmm.
because while I get the whole idea of, let's say, computational neuroscience, maybe, if you can figure out, um, if you can marry somehow, let's say, cognitive neuroscience plus computational,
Hmm.
and translate it into, like, more of a real world sort of a scenarios. Like,
Hmm.
I am not super, let's say, long or keen in, at least at this point of time. I might
Hmm.
change my thought process over the period of time, but for now I
Hmm.
always feel that neuroscience is a tool, okay, which should be sort of leveraged by so many other people, right?
What?
It should,
Come again?
neuroscience as a tool should be leveraged by many people as a whole in their
Hmm.
life. It should
Hmm.
not become like, just a great tool for debates. Yeah, of course, you can create novel debates out of it, right? तो
Hmm.
novelty उसके chase कर सकता है through those debates,
Hmm.
but is that gonna fundamentally change someone? I don't know.
Hmm.
Like I'm more interested in, like, trying to fundamentally approach it to
Hmm.
and somehow link it back to human behavior,
Hmm.
because I think the core reason I like neuroscience as a space is because of the whole association with the human behavior.
Hmm.
So, and I think that's how we also started streaming, right? Like trying
Yeah.
to look at human behavior from neuroscience standpoint. But I'm
I
sure,
I I think I was not that deep in neuroscience a lot. I think
yeah,
you mentioned you had a Notion page of neuroscience links,
yeah,
and वहाँ से मेरे को थोड़ा कीड़ा हुआ, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like it's not like I was not interested, but it's just that something that I didn't pick up very.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, let's say, if we figure out a way, right, through computational neuroscience, how
Hmm.
do we, I don't know, create something which is actually useful for people every day?
I think we are a bit far from that, but it would be just like it's in still in research phase. But
Yeah,
I would assume लोगों ने क्या experimentally validate कर चुके हैं, right?
true, true. Yeah.
So one of my mentors who I met through Sharat, who was also in our podcast lately, Dr. Shrikant, right?
Mm.
He led this. He not led this. He was part of and a key investigator of this Blue Brain project, where
Mm.
they were trying to like create certain parts of a mouse brain but in silicon,
Okay.
right? So in silicon bole to trying to simulate it, and they were way ahead of their time and their
Mm.
practices. So and they also have a Python library, right? So
Okay.
which blue brain pi or something,
Hmm.
let me find it. Blue brain pi.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. एक minute. Hmm.
Yeah. So I'll just sorry, camera off क्यों करना, screen share करना था. I'll share. If you look at uh, if you look at the Blue Brain project, there are several projects that software that came out of it.
Hmm.
Uh, Blue Brain Nexus, which is a knowledge graph of the brain. Then
Oh,
Blue
nice.
Pride. Uh, so if you look at this, uh,
Hmm.
it only has 217 stars and became a public archive.
Yeah.
But but it is a optimization software for like
Hmm.
it's a model parameter optimization, but not ML models, but brain models.
Yeah, yeah, got it, got it. Yeah.
So I'm certain it will not be super useful right away, but it's still useful to read and be informed about the existence of such projects.
No, no, absolutely. And I think this is a bit of like a lot of experimentation. I mean, karte karte he will reach somewhere, right? So,
Yeah,
since again it's a very early in general with the domain, uh,
yeah,
I think we need more experiments anyway right now. So, yeah,
yeah. Experiments, models,
yeah.
and just a lot of like quantitative modeling and quantitative analysis. Like it's just data, right? At the end of the day, you are scanning MRIs, fMRIs, whatever. It's just numbers at the end of
Hmm.
the day.
True. And I think the funny part or like interesting part will be ki how does that, let's say, numbers, right, that comes in from
Yeah.
those quantifiable data,
Uh,
uska how do we create something on the apply gang from that, right? Because
uh,
I think one of the thing is ki let's say um, goal is to also work with bunch of researchers and like see, right, ki how do we get more people to contribute to this data source, right? Matlab, and how
yeah.
can let's say, more people participate in this research phase of sorts, to be honest. And then I think we can go back and say, कि, अच्छा okay, इससे ये बना सकते हैं, वो बना सकते हैं. Right now, we don't have enough, I think, masala to banao for anything. Matlab. So
Yeah.
first we need masala, like a lot of masala for this.
Meanwhile, we can just look at the image of the brain. I also was briefly working on this part where you could take a MRI scan and create your own brain atlas.
Yeah,
I got a free Surfer K license key from Harvard,
nice.
but like the whole pipeline is still not up somehow.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's one thing I was working on कि अभी तो लोगों के ब्रेन का किसी और का ब्रेन का एटलस देख लिया. What about your own brain?
Yeah, yeah,
Anyone could get a MRI scan, get the pen drive, and use
yeah.
it to sort of visualize their own brain. But yeah, I think in terms of feature requests, we also got the अलग अलग data sets के viewers और अलग अलग species के viewers
Yeah,
and more quantitative data. These are from neuroscientists specifically.
yeah.
Quantitative data like how many neurons, how many what species, which scanner was used to scan this sort of data would be nice.
Hmm.
If I highlight a region, like how many neurons are there, what are the like substructure inside that, can we look at the volume, all these things we got as feedbacks.
Hmm. But cool, man. I think this is. So we will maybe next stream. I think we are good. Then we will start with the fundamentals.
Hmm.
Uh, we will go through some resources. We will maybe look at the paper, and we'll see if we can actually bring somebody along with us who's
Hmm.
from that domain or have like some adjacent work to that. So that can also
Yeah,
become like a bit of a learning session for both of us, right? First time.
bilkul.
So, but yeah, I think good. I think this is a great start of 2020. By the way, before we close the stream, right?
What's the
For
sprint planning?
हाँ sprint planning हम close करेंगे. उसके बाद I have a question. Maybe I'll also answer this. But anything specific that you are trying to experiment for this year, that you're really focused that way कि यार ये तो करना है इस साल.
Building at least a few useful models, like not, it does not have to be purely AI models, it could be
Mhm.
neuro informed models. I want to just play with, like, just there was a point in my life when I started really messing around with software architectures, and I started doing this before I was very proficient with like programming in general, right?
Mhm.
I used to mess with architectures before I was proficient with like coding per se. So
Okay.
I am at that point where I am not fully proficient with, let's say, PyTorch or JAX or things like that. But I have good understanding of them.
Mhm.
But I want to play around with architectural things, like can we do a brain inspired neural network, things like that.
Mhm.
Right? It could fail, and it should fail. Failing is the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Something that's novel, and I want to really just go and, like, I created a few XGBoost models lately on
Mhm.
several data sets. One of them was Bitcoin's price prediction.
Mhm.
It did, like, it's obviously it's unpredictable. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but still, I had fun training those. That's something I'm very experimentally interested, and talk to more people. Yeah, for sure.
Mm. I think similar. I think interest. I think overall, because if you can figure out something pretty cool in the whole space of neuroscience, no, it will be a fun year. I think because I have been also interested in this domain for a while. So
Mhm.
this year, if we can maybe proactively figure out
Yeah,
some useful thing out of it, that will be a fun achievement.
yeah.
Yeah.
कभी कभी मन करता है एक पीएचडी कर लूं, बट फिर याद आता है मैं एकेडमिया के लिए बना नहीं हूँ.
Yeah, I think, but that's a different world. I feel, yeah, it's just not the.
It's
I
not the
was
pace.
asking,
Yeah,
I was asking the same question to somebody, and he had a similar answer. Ki, yaar, the one of the thing with academics is that na ki it's hard to ship eventually, right?
yeah.
Like,
Researching independently, I feel like especially in this like non-red taped domains. Like if you are a chemical researcher, you can't get certain chemicals in your home.
hmm, yeah, and plus like people, let's say, who are addicted to, like for us at least, we have seen startups like constantly on that part of ki, can it this be useful, can this be useful. It's a
Yeah.
hard to unlearn the whole usefulness with novelty, right?
Yeah.
So
मैं मेरा always I think I had been like useful utility वाला. I always had this curiosity कि it's cool like
yeah.
uh, useful चल नहीं होने से भी चलेगा as long as it's valuable. In the process of building itself, there is an intrinsic value in the process of
Mhm.
building, right?
Yeah,
So that itself is rewarding to me, but yeah, at the end of the day, you have to deliver value to shareholders.
true. But yeah, cool. I think we'll be back most likely on Tuesday or Wednesday with the next stream.
Yes,
And until then, if people who will watch later, or maybe if they just want to talk to us, reach out. If you have
please.
any ideas, whatever,
Sure.
feel free to ping Sohan or me either way.
Yes, and we had 12 concurrent viewers at one point this
Oh,
stream, so that
nice. Yeah, fun. I think. Thanks for joining in, guys. But I think from next time, maybe we'll also start putting out message in advance when we do all these streams, so maybe more people can engage, right? Because अब तक हम
yes,
लोग एकदम spontaneous streams कर रहे थे. But
yes,
if we just, let's say, want more people to just be part of it, like an active contributor and like whatever, right? We can
yes,
start putting up like some notification for them, so they can also be part
we
of it.
should. Yeah, we should absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll just end the stream and